We will have to see as we are heading on to the Rift to what could be the final game of the night. Frank Esports up 2-0, showing they definitely have CFO figured out. But can CFO change things up? Are they going to be able to pick up a win? We're about to find out, but it feels pretty difficult, right? Because as we've kind of seen the series go on, it feels like both the teams stylistically are pretty similar, right? Playing for early game, lots of team fights, and it feels like Frank just do that a little bit better.
I definitely do agree there, but now we have Pretender on the Veigar against LeBlanc. You have to feel like Jimmy might have a bit more sort of aggression in this game, and we'll see if that changes anything. You have to feel like he has the ability now to roam a little bit more and perhaps be at these objectives first while Pretender is still trying to scale up, and that could have major implications on how this game plays out. I mean, it gives them a little bit less pressure in the mid game up until at least that Rod of Ages is at least bought or even stacked fully. And again, as you kind of touch on every time we see the Veigar, depending on build, it is going to change how this game is played, right? We see sometimes the Seraphs, sometimes you see the Rabadons, even you know, we see other things like Shadow Flame occasionally as well. So it'll be interesting to see the sort of take on how to play Veigar from Pretender, considering how each game's gone, as Slaytrue receives quite a lot of damage early from Kaiwing's Flay passive.
There's a little bit of a damage trade, and one thing I will say is that Pretender, I've been looking at his item builds, and they're normally pretty base, so I'm hoping that he is going to go for the Rabadon second here. We'll have to see, though. This could even be a Zhonya's game out of him. I think playing up against that Vi can be pretty difficult without it, although Aphelios might just be the main target always, so maybe you can kind of rely on that, make Eminem kind of take the ults for you. But you're right, Jimmy getting a lot of control in this matchup, and I think, especially with the Lucian Nami from bot side, we'll have to kind of enable them, because something we kind of see with the Lucian Nami is that when ahead, it's ridiculously strong, but when it doesn't feel comfortable dashing forward and really kind of, you know, poking people out before fights start, it can kind of lose some of its value. And so finding a way to snowball that lane, whether it be through ganks, heralds, or even just early skirmishes, I think is so important for the side of CFO to take this win home.
Nice trade there found by Jimmy chunking Pretender out a bit with that electrocute as Hook goes wide onto Shun, and lane seems to be somewhat swinging into their favor here at level 2. He finds a lot of damage there onto Eminem as well, so utilizing Lucian's sort of level 2 capabilities really well, especially alongside this Nami.
As they are going to keep pushing in this lane, it is Gemini who's pathing down towards bot side. Can he look for anything? I mean, you wouldn't think so. Feels like Aphelios Thresh should be too safe, but if big trades come through, I mean, maybe they could be dived. They do have priority from mid, so there is potential to set something like that up if the wave is built and enough chunk is dealt. Most likely, though, we'll just instead look to grab that Scuttle Crab in the river, and the topside Scuttle traded away by Hollow. Round 2 of the Viego.
Hollow missed one creep on the jungle path. I wonder where that was.
It was just a chicken or something.
Yeah, perhaps. Who knows, but here we see the wave is going to crash. Will Gemini look for anything? He is walking into that side of the jungle, but as you said, this bot lane is fairly safe. He does look like he will be recalling as Shun is very low on mana, actually. Ooh. Nice hook here lands onto Slaytrue. He gets really low. Will Eminem find him? He does, actually. Kaiwing picks up first blood, so a lead here for the bottom lane. Gemini flashes over that wall and finds a kill in trade. So, honestly, trade kind of feels like it was won here from CFO simply because of who got the gold. But Hollow now appearing in this bot lane. Looks like he will just be here to clear the minion wave, but
I think you're right. Big win there for CFO. They managed to kill the ADC and deny a lot of CS, as well as Eminem burned both sums and shouldn't get both of his. I think really smart hook here by Kaiwing. The way he's kind of positioning looks like he's going to go for Shun, but instead manages to find Slaytrue and so much damage dealt onto him. It is pretty unfortunate that Eminem commits both sums and the kill goes over to Kaiwing. But trading so heavily, you know, without your jungler there, especially on that weak side, does allow that kill to be traded back. Now, it is the dirt picked up by Shun compared to the pickaxe of Eminem, so quite a big advantage here, at least temporarily. Although Kaiwing, he puts his gold into that Lucidity Boots. Is going to have flash up, maybe can punish the fact that Slaytrue doesn't. Could see a regank coming out here of Frank Esports. I think bot lane is still very, very volatile.
Yeah, it definitely is. And with Kaiwing on, you know, such a good playmaker and utilizes playmaking champions so well, it's kind of exciting to see him on the Thresh. Traditionally, we see the Nautilus and Leona, and I feel like, I mean, they're a lot tankier and a lot more, you know, survivability in them, but this Thresh is a lot more exciting as Shun will dash away. Hollow found here by Gemini. Nothing will come of it. He is just going to run away, but Eminem is going to begin to find himself at a bit of a CS disadvantage as this massive wave pushed to Shun, and with the Dirk will likely be able to pick up all, if not most, of these minions.
Ooh, can Frank look to start this up? I'd be pretty surprised given the state of the mid priority. I think most likely just want to clear out the vision, try and slow down the game. Remember that you have the Veigar and don't want to fight too much. Don't make the same mistake the CFO made in game number 1. Top lane. We've talked about this matchup many times as you brought up in Champs League. Kind of going back and forth. The top laners solo killing one another. I have to see though, I mean, I think both of these top laners are the ones that lead the solo kill stats. Obviously,
yeah,
one of them named it. Solo kill.
Solo kill found himself a free recall here. Like, he managed to get back, didn't have to burn teleport, and has managed to get a Sheen and a Cull. So, early advantage at least does seem to be going the way of Jax, as Dragons are now started up from Gemini, and you feel like this is just going to be a free Dragon.
It should go the way of CFO, and I think this is the first time all series, as far as I know, that they've picked up the first drag, and I think that really is off the back of this is the first time that they've managed to have both mid and bot priority. In those previous games, it's kind of been, you know, your mid has priority, your bot doesn't, or vice versa. And that's kind of made it difficult to pick up these drags.
Oh, Rest doesn't quite channel that well enough to dodge the stun, but Flash is now used from Rest to get away from that, and he's a lot more vulnerable in this top side now for any repeat ganks from Hollow.
We'll have to be careful for sure. Did manage to get himself the Sheen though. We've seen different builds come out of the Cassante, but the Sheen build definitely seems to be much more important, I think, in these heavy trade matchups. As Gemini is looking back towards bot. They know jungler's not here.
Yeah, Kaiwing going to have to play this really well. Cease and desist used now onto Eminem. Nice Lantern to get away from that bubble as Gemini will likely go down. That's one kill. A solo kill now getting onto Shun. Can he find it? He is. So teleport actually used from that top laner to go bot as Hollow is now going to pick up the top wave, and really well done there by Frank to turn around this bot lane.
A massive, honestly, just misplay, I think, from the side of CFO. The fact that Bubble did not connect in time before Eminem was able to take the Lantern out feels like such a big mistake, and I think that's the kind of mistake that you can't afford to make here. Well, take a look at it again. I feel like Slay True should have been waiting with the bubble. It didn't get rooted, but just couldn't get back in range in time. Ooh. And with the Lantern coming through, I feel like from there, the player's just kind of doomed. So, honestly feels really bad for the side of CFO. Not only did Rest commit TP to top, and obviously there is no chance of a match coming through because it's under their tower, but you know, your top laner, you're expecting him, right, with the TP advantage now to have some sort of lead. Doesn't. It's solo kill who has the kill now. And that should be a free dive, but they manage, you know, they don't manage to pick it up because they misexecute it. And the Herald being picked up here as well, so while it is the first Dragon that goes the way of CFO, in the last minute, things have really fallen apart for them.
Yeah, it's kind of a repeat of what we've seen throughout this series, right? They get an early lead onto this bot lane, and then somewhere as the game progresses, it gets thrown and the lead gets given back over to Frank. And that's exactly what we saw there. And honestly, Eminem had nerves of steel there, not burning that heal during that entire bot dive as well. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, if I was in that situation, certainly I'd be using my heal, but manages to keep that, and now importantly, both of his sums available, whereas Shun doesn't have any now. No cleanse against Thresh Hook can spell a lot of problems for bot lane, and 1k gold lead already established for Frank.
The small gold lead, but I think given that you're the team that outscales us with the Aphelios and the Veigar, have to feel good about it, especially if you can manage to tie up this second drag and kind of deny that win condition over to CFO. There still is potential here, I think, especially from CFO's bot lane. Despite falling behind, still have a lot of power at this point in the game, especially in those bot river skirmishes. Jimmy should be able to move into there much quicker. I have to be kind of careful, right, because now Pretender starting to get towards having more AP and the items, has a heal for himself as well. I don't think the skirmish is as clean cut as it was previously. And Frank, I mean, now they're the ones getting the bot priority. It's pretty difficult, I think, for CFO to look for some sort of play around here, especially with Hollow in the wings now.
Yeah, as you said, Hollow is here. No ward in this tri-bush, so will not be seen. He will now, though. Bubble goes wide, and Hook just misses onto Slaytrue, but valiant effort out of Kaiwing. Hollow now looking mid, actually. Jimmy should be safe enough to just distort away.
Yeah, Hollow does just shut there. Make sure the wave is crashed. Currently maintains extremely good river control, especially with now mid and bot push. You might see this go back the other way, though, as I think it's pretty hard for Pretender to walk up. They're clearing the ward. Cage could come through. It's help for now.
Dragon up in 1 minute now, and see if that is going to be contested by Frank. I almost feel like you don't need to yet, and just being able to get this Veigar to scale a little bit more might be worth a lot more than that individual Dragon, because as you said before, you definitely have scaling advantage in this game. I don't feel like you have to force the Dragon just yet, but looking for a dive now onto solo kill. Does have ult available, but importantly no flash. All out used, maybe not the best usage, but will eventually find it anyway. And that is just a free kill on the top side, but Rift Hero now used bot, and Shun is going to have to leave his tower. Slaytrue here. These two have to be really careful. A lot of damage can come out quite quickly between these three champions.
I think their bot lane's in trouble. Hook
lands now onto Slaytrue. He will be going down just to Kaiwing again, but Hollow is going to get taken out. Flash not necessary, but is used as Jimmy goes forward, is able to just distort away from that hook. But 1 for 1, not the worst trade for CFO. Definitely don't like the fact you've used your Lucian flash for nothing.
Yeah, the Lucian flash obviously does feel a little bad, but I think 1 for 1, pretty good, all things considered. Now, coming back to the Dragon, it'll be interesting to see who ends up going for it. Like you said, Frank could look to play slow and just give over a second drag, buy Veigar more time to scale. At the same time, though, it is no Gale Force yet for the Lucian. As we'll take a look at the bot dive. I'm surprised so much was committed onto Slaytrue. I feel like this probably should have been onto Shun instead. Obviously, it is quite difficult to find, but as always when you're diving bot, it's about killing the ADC and denying CS, not so much about killing the support. Unfortunately, Shun did waste his flash there. Felt like he had to, but did die on the last tick of the culling, I think it was. And no Mythic completed for Shun, so I think Frank Esports should actually be able to fight this. They've got Mythic on mid AD. Good buy time for the rower, but with the bot side control and without the Mythics on Lucian, Nami, or LeBlanc, I think they're pretty competitive in this fight.
Might have to take a look at Aphelios's guns as well, though, because obviously, I mean, at this stage of the game, I'm not even sure which guns you'd want. Potentially even the white-green might be best. I'm not sure that the red-white... Oh, okay.
How did that happen?
I don't know, but it did. And now we see another initiation here near the Dragon onto Gemini. He will ult over the wall to Pretender to potentially get out, and it looks like it might be able to allow him to do that as he comes back in. Is he able to get away, though? He does have to be careful as the 4 team of Frank is coming over, but does look like they might actually be able to pick up this Dragon, knowing that Rest has rotated down. Trading this Dragon here, which is only the 2nd Dragon, for a lot of gold onto Jax. And I'm not sure if that's the best or not, but being able to get it while your AD carry has just died certainly does feel good.
Yeah, Eminem didn't even have to burn sums for this. I'm not sure what on earth happened. It looks like Shun honestly just walked somewhere where he had no business being. Gets solo killed. Now, while it was that Dragon picked up, I think it was 3 top plates that went down. So I want to say both teams are probably happy with that, right? CFO get further towards their Dragon win condition. Solo kill gets much stronger in this top side. But I'm not sure if it's actually going to turn the 1v1 in his favor. You can see losing a lot of plates on top and may even lose his tower soon enough.
Does lose it to that Demolishers. Rest is now getting jumped on. Will go unstoppable for Hollow's stun. Does go all out now, and Solo Kill has to be so careful. Flashes away from that knockup, but will eventually go down. Hollow has to be very careful here. Is he able to find the kill? Another flash from another Cassante Q. He is running away. Does he have the speed to get it? A lot more speed coming out from that all out. Oh, the ult. Moonlight Vigil does land, but not enough damage to take out Rest. He picks up a kill in a 2v1 as well as the tower. And even bot side, Pretender going down now to Jimmy, and CFO are winning all over the map. And this looks so much better than their past 2 games.
Yeah, things are starting to look up here for the side of CFO. Massive performance out of Rest. Manages to take the top lane tower purely 1v1, grab himself a solo kill, and chase, just get chased down, manage to get himself out and burn flashes. So I think Rest there can't underestimate what he's done. And as well, on the bot side, it's Jimmy who trades the kill onto Pretender and even picks up the bot tower. So CFO, for the first time in the series, they have their lead at 15 minutes. We'll take a look at how this happened. So the first tower picked up by Rest, and honestly, solo kill is just nowhere near as strong. As the Mythic completed for Rest, and I believe solo kill is still on components, and honestly just doesn't do enough damage. So really well played here from Rest, knowing his limits. Pretender goes a bit too far up in the side lane. Again, we kind of saw it before. Trading on weak side is something that a lot of teams have done this series, and is, unfortunately, just kind of left out to dry under his tower. Not much that anyone can do to help him here. And with that bot tower falling as well, it ends up being a very good gold trade for the side of CFO.
Yeah, bringing gold now into their favor as, importantly, third dragon is spawning in 2.5 minutes. And if they can maintain this sort of control over the map, you do like their chances here. And Rest seems like he is sort of spiking, and it's hard to see how they'll take him down on the side of Frank, but we've seen it happen before. They are extremely good at team fighting in the middle stages of this game, as we now see a huge contest over the middle tower, and actually Slaytrue picks up a free kill on Eminem.
Not really sure what happened there. The lantern was dropped and Eminem just couldn't click it or something. It wasn't like no one took it from him. And that's definitely a weird death to have, because I feel like should just be able to trade the lantern with the Lucian ult, and that should be it. I'm not sure if he got bubbled up or something. We'll have to see, but I mean, CFO, they found the lead they need. They've got the 2 dragons that they're kind of, known for stacking up so early in the game, but it'll all come down to these 3rd and 4th dragon fights, and that's really Frank's playground. They've shown just such good team fighting all series long. But it's a pretty simple comp, I think, for CFO, right? You've got the Vial, and you can kind of commit everything with that. I really want to see a replay on how Eminem died, because I just don't get how he didn't manage to get to the lantern.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either, and I think also important to know that partly his death there can be attributed to Rest, because Rest did pop his flash as he was running away, and Eminem tried to chase with a flash Moonlight Vigil. So no flash available there, meant he did die, and priority over River now given to the side of CFO, and they are looking to stack their 3rd dragon, and I don't know how you can answer this as Frank Esports.
It'll be tough, yeah. There's a lot of control that you have to regain in a relatively short amount of time. I feel like you might even have to give this one up, to be honest. It's very, very difficult, I think. You're kind of losing 3 lanes at the moment. None of your lanes get priority, and you definitely don't get priority over mid. Do you have the better team fight? I think you do, but I'm just not sure you can get in without taking so much damage. If you can manage to get to the fight without being chunked out before, I think Frank probably do win. But it's just so difficult, especially with how strong Shun is, right? Only 1, 2, and 2, but you kind of see whenever he gets on someone, deals so much damage in such a short amount of time. And there's no Baron up to trade either. CFO, they may be looking for something.
Yeah, have not bought down solo kill. Does have teleport available, but low mana, so he should be going to base here as Culling now used. Will get a big chunk out of Kaiwing, but Bubble actually misses there as Cease and Desist now used onto Hollow. He will be going down and showing exactly why I don't want to see Viego ever again. Gemini tries to land the flash there with his Q, but will not quite land. And our entire priority and 3rd dragon will be given over to CFO.
Should be, yeah. So CFO, they're looking really, really good in this game. 3rd dragon will now be picked up. They get to shove in the sideways as well as mid. And while the gold lead isn't insurmountable by any means, we've kind of seen that, CFO, once they do have these big leads, especially with the dragons to back it up, they do manage to close it out. And unfortunately, the Veigar hasn't scaled to the point where he can be impactful. He's going for the Seraph second, and Veigar scales or snowballs so hard, I guess. Spikes is the word I'm looking for. When he picks up that Rabadons, but when you fall behind, especially if you're going the Seraph build, you hit the Rabadons so late, And it just feels like you never really become impactful in the game. And I'm not sure if Frank can afford that. I think the Veigar has maybe been a bit of a bait pick all series long. Not so much because of the pick, but just kind of how the teams function with it. And so Frank, they can farm, you know, maybe their second item on Veigar here in time for this next dragon. What will be the 4th dragon. And they do have 2 items on M&M. They're definitely not weak in the team fight, but it feels so hard to get a good team fight, especially just, there's so much pick, right? So much pick that can come out from the Vi LeBlanc before the fight, as well as the engage. See here, Kaiwing, he's chunked out pretty low.
He is low, he will recall and get his health back, and there's no real objective to be contested. Obviously, Baron is alive, but a bit too risky to just start up here. But I want to say, like, honestly, Viego seems so useless in these games. What can he really achieve in these team fights? I mean, he's pretty good at anti-dive, but at this point, if Gemini goes in on someone, the follow-up available for CFO, they will just be going down, and it doesn't seem like there's enough damage to really allow for as we do see a fight actually start here. Kaiwing will go golden as Eminem returns Moonlight Vigil. All out now onto Kaiwing as Rest picks up one. Hollow looking now. Are they able to find one? No, they won't. It's turned around on them. Gemini will find the pick up there. Eminem actually got a lot of chakras. Is he able to find the damage to pick anyone up? It doesn't look like it. Is Solo Kill getting really low. Eminem now flashes forward into a bubble. Will get picked up by Solo Kill. Oh, sorry, Shun. Pretender now low as well as Solo Kill. Is he able to get out? Doesn't look like it. Solo Kill tries his best to find Shun. Will not be possible as Baron looks like it will be picked up from CFO. Actually, recalls.
Yeah, maybe just not healthy enough to pick up the Baron. TP comes back through.
Yeah, will be Pretender going down, and that is an important pickup. It doesn't look like Baron can be taken here, but again, they don't have the damage for Rest, and I mean, you really need this Veigar to get to some items, and it doesn't look like he'll be able to, as Dragon now spawning in 2.5 minutes, and any team fight taken looks like it will be CFO winning it.
I really want to see the damage for that fight as well, because it feels like Veigar just couldn't really do anything. Eminem, he tried his best. We'll kind of see here. So a lot of initial cooldowns used onto Kaiwing, which I think is actually pretty good for the side of Frank Esports. And they do a pretty good job of re-engaging, but it really feels like, especially just where the fight is happening, it's quite hard for Eminem to consistently DPS, and Pretender as well. It's so hard for him to actually find damage onto people. It just really isn't strong enough at this point. I think Solico and Eminem honestly played the fight pretty well, but yeah, unfortunately the other members just not strong enough. And I do want to say the side of CFO played this very, very well. Managed to kite out extremely well, play on their limits, and that's the team fighting that we need to see from CFO if they're going to be able to contest Frank in the remainder of this series. So close. Nice save. And it looks like Jimmian was sniped, I think, by the Veigar off screen. The Veigar, yeah, okay. So somehow LeBlanc ended up there. Not sure what happened. Oh, 254 damage on the Viego. Less than Nami. Less than Thresh even.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually seen this repeatedly in the PCS. I don't really understand why some junglers prioritize it so much, but alas, it's in our game, and it's honestly, you wouldn't really notice that it is.
I guess Jimmy just dashed into a hook or dashed into a cage or something. We'll have to see. Yeah, oh my god, real nice though from Kaiwing. I can kind of, I can sympathize with Jimmy, and that was I feel almost cheated on that one, but doesn't end up being anything that comes of it. Is just a kill. 4th Dragon now in just a minute. Frank Esports, they're going to have to contest it. But I think this should just be CFO's win here. I don't see really how they're going to win a team fight at this point on the side of Frank. It just feels like, short of Eminem popping off, but without Flash up against the Vi, it's going to be so hard.
Yeah, importantly, Seraphs is now completed as well as 10 stacks on Rod of Ages, so Pretender will have a little bit of available ability power as Culling is entirely shielded out by both the Bloodthirster and Overheal.
That's so sad. That's so sad, but hey, Culling is used early. It won't be up, I think, in time for the Dragon spawning, but it's pretty late recalls that come out of the side of Frank. CFO probably want to avoid this being a Baron for Dragon trade. Need to try and maintain control on both sides of the map. Could probably honestly just send one person to solo the drag, commit the rest of the members just to matching. Looks like instead we'll be moving towards the Dragon. I think Frank, can they try and trade? They're probably going to be too late on anything. So it looks like the 4th drag will just be given over with no trade at all. So the worst possible outcome for the side of Frank. And CFO, they're looking, you know, it's looking harder and harder to lose with this win, or with this lead that they have, but we've seen them make some games pretty difficult for themselves before.
They definitely have, and I mean, I guess if there's any sort of late game AD carry that could maybe win through this, it's probably the Aphelios. He does kind of need to get to IE for that to be realistic, however, and before that he is going for that Lord Dom, so it's a long way to go, but importantly, some gold now picked up from Pretender in that top lane. Ooh, this looks a bit dangerous. Gemini will go wide just on that Vault Breaker.
Yeah, okay, so nothing ends up coming of that. Eminem, how much can he lifesteal here? Is the BT, the red gun? Yeah, I think he's just going to be back to full HP in no time. 130 per auto. That doesn't seem very fair.
Well, I don't think it matters too much in this game, however. I mean, it is actually only a 4K gold. I say only, it is 25 minutes, but I would have almost expected it to be more, but obviously that Dragon Soul adds a lot of unseen gold, as well as, I mean, they're just so far ahead. 5 levels up is Jimmy over the support of Frank, and that is a sizable number. I mean, the same for Slaytrue, but if Jimmy is able to hit Kaiwing just through poking with sort of that WQR, it's going to take a huge chunk out of Thresh.
Yeah, I think it feels so bad as Thresh when you're this far behind, and you know, you're the one that has to face check into the LeBlanc Fire, the Lucian Nami. You're kind of the sacrificial lamb at this point. Nice cage from Pretender.
Yeah, hook will land. Oh, sorry. Cease and desist used. Pretender does go golden, though. He is in the middle of the team. Tidal Wave will not catch him, but he does get taken out by Shun and that rapid fire cannon. Now, Solo Kill is alone here on the side. It is a 4v5. CFO can look to just reset and head towards Baron. Does look like they will. Eminem not got very good guns to deal with that either, as Rest goes unstoppable. Isn't able to find anyone with that, however, and again, just backing off. There is a red buff available. Doesn't look like they'll be looking for it just yet. Gemini starting up on this Baron. Shun also over there with him. Kaiwing half health will pretty much immediately die if Jimmy decides to target him. Is there going to be a contest here from the side of Frank? It feels like you have to, otherwise the game's kind of just over, as there we see Kaiwing's health get pretty much eliminated. And can Hollow look for a steal? 3,000 health the Baron is at. As everyone jumps over, he's going to go down. And again, the Viego doing nothing.
Yeah, he is taken out, unfortunately. It's so hard to get the steal there. They did manage to yoink a red buff off the back end, so it's better than nothing. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be real hard for Frank Esports to actually stay in this game. I think CFO, if you can just pressure mid and top, and then as well, off the back of this, just as your Baron expires, you'll have Elder up in not just 20 more seconds after. It feels really difficult, I think, for Frank to get back into this game. Maybe if they can get Rabadons on Veigar in time, but is so far behind and has such difficulty living in these fights.
Oh, hook does land on the Gemini, only just missing Jimmy. Rest is looking for an angle, though, as Eminem now very slow. Cease and desist used. He goes down immediately. Gemini now going golden as Rest is all out. Can he find the damage here onto these two? It does look like he will. He is so strong at this point of the game. Jimmy and snipes Hollow off the back end there. Shouldn't getting low to solo kill, but ultimately it is a 3-for-0 trade, and it looks like the game will be taken here by CFO.
Yeah, Rest, he's trying to go for more in the base here. I think the other members of CFO were actually backing off, but Rest isn't having any of it as the last tower is being sieged down here, only 29 minutes in. And I think this will be CFO managing to come back at least a little bit in this series, picking up their first win here as the members of Frank. They try and hold on, but it's all over now. CFO, they regain quite a lot of momentum with this, so big win for them for sure. I want to say that they're not going to get the Vi again, most likely. I think Gemini on the Vi found so many picks time and time again, and maybe a question mark for me in this series is solo kill, right? I think Rest has kind of had his number, and solo kill, I think, all throughout the split looks extremely dominant. And as we said, those 2 games up against CFO in the very last week was kind of a solo kill 1v9, but I mean, Rest, you know, especially that game, actually just manhandled him.
Yeah, definitely did. I mean, he's found an advantage in all of these games, honestly, but my biggest takeaway, again, is that Viego. It seems so useless. It doesn't really offer anything. I mean, anti-dive a little bit, but you just don't have the damage on that champion at the moment. It did get buffed recently, which sort of brought it back, but the buff was to crit build, and we're not seeing crit build in the slightest. So I don't know why the sudden priority over Viego. I mean, there was Wukong available, as well as, I mean, Lee Sin, honestly, looks better than the Viego. I'm so unsure of what the sudden priority is over it.
Yeah, it must be just a good matchup or something, but it kind of feels like it just doesn't really work out like that, right? It all just kind of comes down to those team fights.